I'm here in Prospect Park in Brooklyn, and I wanted to talk to you today about the real purpose of savings. Why particularly that sexy topic? Well, it actually has to do with me being here in New York. Because if I hadn't had savings and if I hadn't done a good job of taking care of it, I wouldn't be here right now. And so I wanted to take a chance to use a story of my own and have that hopefully connect and resonate with you, to help you understand how savings doesn't just have to be something that experts tell you to do and it kind of sucks, but the benefit of savings and how it can actually allow you to have freedom and flexibility in your life. As I said, one of the things that I think is too bad about how this discussion of savings is framed is that experts say, you need to have an emergency fund to cover if your car gets in a wreck or if you have an unexpected medical expense. And it's always to cover a negative, even to have a rainy day fund, right? It's to have 3 to 6 months of savings to cover you if you lose your job, which is important, absolutely. But for most people, saving money to simply make a bad situation less bad isn't a great motivator. And so I wanted to reframe it and say, rather than save to cover something bad happening, savings can actually help you do really, really cool shit. It can empower you to have flexibility in your life. It can enable you to have freedom to jump at opportunities that come your way. And so I wanted to share my experience and how savings has really allowed me to do that. We're gonna go back to my second year after graduating from college when I started a volunteer program. Well, I didn't start. I started working in a volunteer program in Portland, Oregon, working at a high school for students from low-income families and troubled backgrounds. I don't know if you've heard, but volunteering, it doesn't pay. So I had a $150 stipend every month. Luckily, my housing and food was paid for, but I wasn't rolling in dough. But here's actually something that very few people know. At the end of each of my 2 years of volunteering, I had some family friends give me $13,000, which is the maximum amount that you could give someone without being taxed. So I just want to acknowledge right off the bat that yes, that very rarely happens to people, and I am so incredibly fortunate that I was given that money. That just doesn't really happen. However, let's for a second not focus on how I came into the money, and focus instead on what I did once I had it, because this is what is more universally relevant to everyone. Because when I had that money in the bank, I had some choices. I could decide whether I want to kind of go YOLO and spend it on going out, drinks, partying, things like that, or whether I was going to kind of use it in a more conservative way. And it was really hard, but I really tried to go that second route. So I used that money to actually move from from Portland to New York City after I was done with the volunteer program. In my first year in New York, I got a job that made me $30,000 working as an independent contractor. And that's not a lot of money in this city, right? So what was really tough about that is that I was only making 30 grand and most of my friends were making a lot more, but I had all this money in the bank that I could actually dip into if I wanted to, but really that would be me living above my means. And I'm not gonna lie, it was really tough to be invited to go on day trips, to go out and go to restaurants and bars at night, but me knowing that I couldn't afford it. And that went on for 2 to 3 years. And it's only because I'm kind of stubborn that I was able to say no to all of those, times when I could have spent a lot of money. But this is where savings actually kind of allowed me to do some really awesome shit, because after about 3 years, some friends of mine from college said, hey, we're gonna start a music production company. Do you wanna be a part of it? And I was at a job I hated at the time, and so I was able to say yes, I wanna go and take this crazy leap of faith with you guys, because I had still kept that money in the bank. After 3 years, I think I'd only spent about 3 grand out of the 26. So that money gave me the flexibility to jump at an opportunity. Fast forward another year and a half, and we'd started a second company. It actually hadn't been financially successful, but I still had done a good job of living within my means, and so I was able to make a loan out to that company and give us a little bit more runway so that we didn't completely crash and burn. Fast forward another about 6 months after that, having that money in the bank again allowed me to take another crazy leap of faith and start Be Awesome Not Broke. So throughout that whole time, yeah, I had lived within my means for the most part, and it had sucked at times, saying no to, again, going out and doing things that most of my friends were doing. But ultimately, it allowed me to quit a job that I didn't love and start a music production company with two really great buddies from college, and then ultimately make the decision to jump off and start Be Awesome Not Broke. And I share this again because when having to save is framed as simply like something you need to do to cover like shitty situations, it's not motivating. But for me, reframing it and thinking of it as, okay, what will savings allow me to do? How will it allow me to jump at opportunities that come my way? That's made it a lot easier for me to save and put money away, but also not draw down on that money that I already have. So hopefully this is helpful, this resonates. You're kind of like, yeah, this is much better than having to just save for some shitty situation that might happen. And I'd love to hear your thoughts. If this was helpful, leave me a comment. I'd love to have a conversation about what worked for me, what didn't work for me, and how it might be relevant to you. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. Take care.